Everybody! Hey, Tom, I told Tom to start the show. He didn't want to. Now you're starting it. Make up your mind, Tom.
Good evening, everybody.
No,
here
that's not the way we do it.
Well, we do it in wrestling. We do it a little long intro, sir.
Don't you see all my videos? Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Anyways, let me do this right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show with my wonderful co-host, Tom. Tom said I spelled his name wrong. I'll fix that for you.
George, think of it like Christmas season, B-I-N-G-O.
Okay, whatever. Next, Tom, welcome back to the show. I thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
And our beautiful friend, George, which I still don't have a picture to put him into the group picture, but we're going to get a picture from.
I think that's discrimination.
Now, this is where I'm going to be very careful now.
That was a good
Hello,
one.
Nicole. How are you?
I am well, sir.
Welcome
how
back.
Are you?
I would say you're pretty and stuff like that, but I would get in trouble, and I'm going to tell you how I get in trouble, because you crazy women, I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying that. I promise you, I got onto the plane in Israel, and we're going to talk about a lot of stuff, Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. People, welcome to the show. But here's what my problem is, and I'm going to talk straight to you, Nicole.
Always to me. When are you not talking
because
to
I'm
me?
upset with you.
To be fair, on Instagram,
because you're one of them.
Yes,
okay?
Yes. Talk about my
what is
species.
one of them?
And I
It's
told
a
it,
species.
and I was texting Tom from the plane when this happened. I get onto the plane to Israel to bring money, to bring support, to make people happy. I'm going there to my people and the country as well. I'm sitting on the plane, and they put me in the seat, and my nephew is pushing me, you know what I mean? And he's getting up every 2 minutes. I'm starting not to feel good, so I ask this nice stewardess, you think you can give me a can of Coke, not a cup of Coke? So she said, okay. And she comes back with this can of Coke, okay? And then I say, oh, thank you so much. You're so pretty. That's it. That's all I said. Are you paying attention? Nicole? She's shaking her head. Pay attention. Then this guy comes with a cup of ice. I think he's homosexual, but I'm not allowed to comment on that. Comes over with the ice. I said, wow. He looked out. But I'm in big trouble when he holds his head. Anyways, he comes over with a cup of ice, and I say, wow, thank you so much. You're handsome, beautiful, great. I pour myself the soda. I'm start drinking. 10 minutes later, the head stewardess comes over. I swear. Mr. Tischler, and remember, I have a lot of people that were around me, talking to me, joking with me. They knew me on the plane. The way you spoke to my people is not politically correct. I said, what? Yeah, you called her pretty and handsome. We don't do that. I said, 1 minute. We're stabbing people in Israel. We're murdering them. We're kidnapping them. We're killing them. Bombs are flying. And what you're worried is about the woke thing that I call them pretty and handsome. That's what you're worried about? I'm not talking to you.
Nicole wants the lady's number. She thinks she has a good lawsuit.
But Nicole,
listen, I'm just happy you also commented on the male's appearance. Like, I'm actually
right,
proud of you.
Right, but she thought I was going to grab his behind. You know what I mean? And I would have if that's what he wanted. So as long as he watches the show, you know.
Maybe if you want to talk about it, you want to give us a call, you can do that at 646-974-1580. And
yeah, this woke thing is out of it. You know, I can insult you, and big deal. Gosh sakes, Nicole, so I insult you. I didn't threaten to kill you like the Palestinian kids are threatening to kill us. That is purely illegal. Today I saw Liz Cheney on CNBC. Boo, pig. And she's saying Trump has no chance, that the core people are just a few people, and he is dead and he has no chance. Look how Nicole is clapping. Oh,
is that you rooting for Liz Cheney? I
will root for a ham sandwich if it means Trump doesn't
win.
I'm as Jewish as they come.
Liz Cheney over Donald Trump for Nicole.
Anybody over Donald Trump. Literally anyone.
You watch, Nicole, next year, after he wins the election, just 3 months in, you're going to see that you're going to come into this show and you're going to say, Heshy, you were right again.
You know, it went on for 4 years and I never said that. So I really don't see myself changing my mind.
Because these first 4 years he was scared and he did a pretty good job. Now he's going to go in there with action.
He was
screaming.
scared.
That's right.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Trump was scared. Let me be clear.
He wasn't scared, but he wanted to be reelected. So he was careful with a lot of the things that he did. Yeah, that's right. He was careful. Even the people that he hired, he tried to get some of those professionals. When I think he should have fired everybody, like the guy in Brazil, and just take everybody, a professional.
Well, the guy in Brazil is he's a
not
hero to me.
He's a hero to me. I would call up a girl like Nicole and say, come work for me. Oh, you don't have political experience, but you have experience in the illegal field. I want you. She would be more qualified than half of those loser politicians.
Including Trump.
Who's joining our show, Tom?
So I want to give a big shout out to my buddy,
What about the people from the radio?
Well, we're going to do that first, but we're actually technically just at 9:05. So I want to say hello to our people at 93.5 FM WVIP, just like Pamela Anderson's old show VIP, 620 WSNR, and 1640 WJPR. And good evening, and hope you join us here. And one more time, if you want to give us a call, 646-974-1580.
646-974-1580. Who are you giving a shout out to?
I want to give a shout out to my good buddy out there in the state of Indiana. Mr. Justin Parsley is here. Justin Parsley, of course, one of our favorites on SportsWire Radio. My thing, not your thing. I want to say hello to our buddy, Mr. Josh Bailey. Josh, you met a couple weeks ago. And I also want to say hello to Black Beauty. So those are some.
Finkel?
Finkel probably maybe had a few too many cold ones. I don't want to say what else he might have had.
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Sergeant Peter, Ellie, my beautiful granddaughter Mira Nava, and of course I don't know what that noise is from our producer Mira Nava, and Layla and Yeshua. Welcome, and I love you guys, and I'm shouting out to you. And don't forget, Sergeant Peter, I still love you very much. What do you got? You got to shout out somebody who's not feeling well.
Well, it's it's a friend of my father's. He passed on.
I'm sorry,
but I have a shout out to his family. His name was Theodore Kavelis.
Oh, wow.
Came here from Greece, just like my dad, and did the whole immigrant experience. You know, built himself up, made part of the American dream, and had a nice family. Had 3 daughters and grandchildren.
Well,
but he suffered through dementia and Alzheimer's.
Well,
at the end,
may rest in peace, and his soul to go where it's supposed to go. Nicole, anybody you want to shout out to your beautiful daughter?
My beautiful daughter, as usual, Sarah Rose, my best friend who's in town.
That Sarah Rose, you know how she says it. People say it very nice.
Yeah, and my best friend Irina is in town. I'll be seeing her tomorrow. Very excited. She's in from Denver.
Everybody, I'm disappointed with, of course, Nicole again. She, a Jewish girl, buying pastrami in a package. I mean, aren't you guys just, please call in on this. Somebody comment.
I have to
please comment in a package. Really.
I have to question your Jewishness with
right.
With
we're gonna have to demote her 2 levels.
What's there to question? It's glatt kosher. What's the problem?
Does anyone actually buy it?
Yeah.
You know, there's an A meal and a B meal. That's like a D meal. When I was in jail, they give out kosher packaged meals called Meal Mart kosher meals, and they're expensive and they're nice, beautiful. And when I was in jail, they gave us these crappy Meal Mart meals that didn't make sense. When I left, I found out that there's different versions of their nice meal, and to the jails, to save money, they make a D meal. A crappy meal for the prisoners instead of a good meal to save $2.
Listen, I didn't say it was gourmet, but you know what? In a pinch, it gets you by.
Well, anyways,
not for nothing. It's not bad.
I want to tell you a simple joke. This happened to me. I was helping my 4th grader niece fill out her forms for the school there. And we had to write a whole bunch of stuff. And it's one of the questions was, what's your the name of your parents and
your family tree.
It's not family. What's the name of your parents and a contact person to reach out in case of an emergency. So she writes her mother's name, and then it says there, what's the relationship? And she writes, it's good. And I was just laughing. I said, wow, brilliant. And
it was very brilliant, Heshy.
Anyways.
And also, I want to say hello to a few more people out there. Joe D, by the way, who actually likes my mutton chops. Thank you, Joe D. 5 years in the making on those mutton chops.
Oh my
I want to say, yes, 5 years, and not getting rid of them anytime soon. Want to say hello.
Chops, is that from
That's
Seinfeld?
It's this.
For all this time, you know me, Heshy.
I don't know what mutton chops are. We call you the Wolfman now.
He's hiding his face. He's trying to give all the other guys a chance.
You know what? I'm going to grow these things just for Purim, maybe.
You should try it, actually. It might win you more constituents to support. Sorry, sir. But I also want to say hello to my lovely friend out there, Zena, out there in the friendly confines of Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn. Also want to say hello to Infinite Justice MDV, who's got a few things to say we'll talk about later. And also want to thank everybody out there that is on YouTube with us. And also check us out anytime at Just Enough Heshy on YouTube, and subscribe, because if you actually are in the comment section, make sure you subscribe so you get those live notifications.
Beautiful.
Have to plug
give them
yourself.
that number one more time.
646-974-1580. And speaking of telephone numbers, I'd like to plug our friends over at the Crossroads Rehab Treatment Center. They have been at the forefront of treating patients with opioid use disorder. They specialize in medication-assisted treatment. We are dedicated to providing the most accessible, convenient, comprehensive, high-quality care available. We also accept Medicaid, Medicare, and many commercial insurance plans for most of our centers. Your path to recovery begins here, and your path to recovery begins in Succession Missions are always here with us at Crossroads Rehab Treatment Center. You can call us anytime at 800-805-6989. That's 800-805-6989. We're right off Route 9 at 751 Route 37 West in beautiful Toms River, New Jersey, which is the home of former New York Mets great Mr. Al Leiter, 08755. And also check us out at locations.crossroadstreatmentcenters.com/NJ. So wanted to make sure we plug our friends who are out there doing good things, especially in this time of year where people do need help, especially when it comes to mental health and rehab treatments and all that stuff there. So just wanted to plug that.
They brought me a napkin. I spilled some Coca-Cola on my shirt. But the problem is not the shirt, it's the tie, the $55 tie, which now is going to cost me $7 to clean. So
Can't take them anywhere. You see?
I know. Anyways, here's my quote. Okay. I went to Israel. I went for love. And I got this. There is no remedy for love but to love more. Love is shown more in deeds than in words. And I say this to you is because I'm going to be collecting money. I have people, they took me all around Israel, which we're going to talk about my trip now. And they took me to bases. And these people are telling me, I asked them, I sat down with a secret organization like a SWAT team that goes into Gaza and tries to get back our kidnapped people. They actually go in undercover. They go in, they were showing me videos. You're not allowed in this base. How I got into this base, I don't even know. I had a lot of friends that pulled a lot of connections. And it's right there on the border. And they took me all around. And I was, in my video, you'll see that I was in one of their Jeeps. They were just great to me, showing me secret videos and what they do. And they need vests. They need disguises. They need the money, and they don't have it. And I was speaking to the commander, and one of the commanders that was killed. And then they took me to the shooting range, which I don't want to shoot guns. And they made me shoot guns, and because I don't like guns. But now, because I'm not in, I'm for the Second Amendment, Miss Girl, and make sure, not like Ina, you have the firing pin when you carry the gun, okay? She didn't have the firing pin. And I know, look at George, he's looking funny.
Don't worry, sir, I'm on your side on that one.
It's the gun charge, come on.
Listen.
All I know is when you get a gun, I want to make sure you don't have the firing pin.
There's the 11th commandment for Republicans.
11th, here we go.
Well, you do not insult other Republicans.
She's not a Republican.
That's by Ronald Reagan.
I'm not going to say the bad word because she's sitting right there because, the sisters, they all together,
Somebody's got to keep it behaved.
Not Ina. Anyway.
Well, before you do that real quick, I actually want to give a big plug to Superfly's daughter, Sophia, who's a big fan of you. So I want to make sure that I mention
I just want you guys to know, I'm going to tell you quickly. I went to Israel, and as I landed, I knew I was going to run around. I was going to meet a lot of people, but I went to Israel, and after I got off the plane, so I was talking to people of things that happened over there. And as we got out, ceasefire ended. Bombs flying. And my nephew's scared. I said, what's scared, boy? We drive. The bombs are not going to hit us, those bombs. And I saw the Iron Dome stopping those bombs. Yeah. So cool.
Looks like fireworks.
And then I ran to pray, and then we went to the Wailing Wall, and people were just there. Nobody was scared at the Wailing Wall because it was center of Jerusalem, and I was taking pictures and videos with soldiers. Some of them actually knew the Just Enough show. They know Heshy knows my funny videos.
I want to know, how was the pizza? Remember you did the video with the pizza?
The pizza was great. I went into Jerusalem, and I did some of the food there was very good. And then I went to my nephew for Shabbos, and we stood there as I'm standing on his deck right before Shabbos. That means right before Sunday. When I tell you to stop calling me George, more bombs were coming. They actually knew when to do. And my little nephew says, look at the alarm, and they showed me where the shelter is. When I went to visit my 96-year-old Holocaust survivor cousin, he has a shelter. And he got up, walked over to his shelter, and showed me as well. I said, I'm not using the shelter. I'm not getting locked in the shelter. If they're going to blow the fat man up, I'm going to pieces.
The shelters don't lock.
What?
They don't lock.
The had the window sealed.
No, they're sealed, but they don't it's not. You're not locked in. They don't lock from the inside. That was the problem on October 7th. They don't lock.
So that's what he showed me when the terrorists came. They didn't lock. So he showed me this new piece of wood that locks it in place that they can't open it from the outside.
So it's a makeshift
they
lock.
came in. They all came up with this new idea. You were right about that.
Yeah.
And when he showed it to me, he says, look, Heshy, this is how we do it. He's trying to teach me how to protect myself. I'm standing right there in front to grab those terrorists. Now, you guys call them terrorists.
They are.
I sat with somebody, and I know you guys heard the story, and the guy told me personally the story. He was at October the 7th. He was there. Put blood on him. So he should make believe he was dead. He witnessed them raping a woman 8 times. She was screaming to be killed. Please kill me anyways. They raped a man. These are not terrorists. Let me get this out of your head. They're gangsters from the Bronx who came to rob,
from the Bronx.
Rape. Because in the Bronx we have these gangsters. They don't come just to be terrorists. They rape, they rob, they steal. And these guys stole merchandise. So they were actually thieves coming in the night. These people need to be wiped out. I know you're going to say proportionally kill. Even according to the proportionate numbers, we're giving back 3 or 4 hostages.
Oh, I don't have any sympathy for the whatever you want to call them, barbarians, terrorists,
even the Palestinian people,
gangsters.
They all live in Gaza. The rest of the Palestinian operation there
is in Qatar. The leadership's in Qatar.
Yeah, Qatar. You're talking the Hamas people, but most of the Palestinian people are in the Palestinian Authority section. Gaza is a separate section. Yeah. These people who live there want to be living there. They want to be terrorists. Otherwise, go live in a normal neighborhood where there's no bombs coming in. Israel is not going to attack.
Do they have a choice to live in a normal
neighborhood? It's one big country. Leave. Go. No, to leave Gaza.
All right, Nicole. All right, Nicole.
I was there.
I lived there.
And I spoke to the Muslims, the Muslim soldiers who said, you can travel all around the Palestinian Authority. Anywhere you want to go.
Into the Palestinian Authority,
right.
yes.
So leave Gaza and go to the other part of the Palestinian Authority.
They can go to East Jerusalem. They can go to parts of the West Bank. They can go to the south of Gaza.
They stay in Gaza because that's where the terrorists stay. And even their children, they're teaching their children to become animals. And I'm just telling you that I was driving around.
And just while you real quick, we're having an issue with our video and audio. Apparently, our video is not matching the audio. So if the producer can maybe look into that, because I'm getting a few comments in the chat about that. So,
well, all I can
I want to highlight something about your trip that I noticed in your videos, because you were sending us these awesome videos, and one of them was, I guess they're either the Druze unit or the 669. There was the Arab soldiers.
They were Arab Muslim soldiers
right,
that are watching my show. They actually said, watch Heshy's show, and they actually joined my TikTok and Instagram.
So there's something that I want to highlight.
Cool. And they were so good to me. They just let me go. And they put me in a tank before you go on, and I held a live bomb. Now, this is not a joke, on the Gaza border. And when we were driving around, there's a lot of barricades. They can't patrol anything, so we got lost. And my nephew was screaming, oh, we're in Gaza, we're going to die. And I moved one of the barricades. I said, go through. He says, yeah, I'm not going through. And I made him go through because we were lost. And it was cool until somebody caught us and says, no, you got to turn around. You're going in the wrong direction. I don't think we were inside Gaza, but I was in a camp, and I was with those guys, and they put me in a tank, and I was in their Jeeps. And these guys, I don't know how they do it.
Are you ready to sign up for the Army?
George,
what's the age limit?
I went to visit the hospital with a guy with 2 bullets in his chest.
They take you in the reserves until you're 15.
Right, and a young boy with 2 bullets in his chest, and by mistake, I was joking around with him, and I banged his chest. Oh, everybody was screaming, you can't touch him! I said I was going to kiss him, but I banged him by mistake. His parents had a good laugh. I went to the hospital. They loved me over there. We were walking around, just joking around with everybody there. And there was like 100 soldiers. I only showed you a few of them, but 100 of them. And this girl that took me around, this representative, Leah. Your name is Leah, not Leah. I know, I kept making mistakes. They get very angry when you make mistakes with their names, even the other ones. I was making fun of a lot of the names. I said, can't you just get regular names like Rachel and Bob and Miri? But no, they got to pick names that I don't even know how to say. You know what I mean? I'm Jewish. And they get angry. Their eyes start flinching like you're flinching over there. Nicole, terrible. But I want you to know something. I went around. I heard the stories. I was sitting in the Dead Sea with displaced families, not for a week, 2 months already. But we take good care of them. Not like our homeless here with May Adams. They put them in hotels. They keep it clean. Not animals.
Well, we're taking care of the migrants.
On the streets.
But there's something we don't talk about enough, and that's the Israeli identity, right? Most often, all you hear about is that they're all Jews and it's a Jewish state and all this and that. I think what this whole catastrophe has highlighted is that there is an Israeli identity, and the Israeli identity includes Muslims, it includes Arabs, it includes all people that
Filipinos, Chinese,
right.
Black.
They are all proudly Israeli. It's not only that you have to be Jewish or that you have to be from the first Jewish tribes that are indeed indigenous to the land. The Arab and the Muslim Israelis fully understand the story and fully understand the land's origins and embrace them. And in turn, Israel embraces their Arab citizens. And so what I've really enjoyed about all this, if there's anything to enjoy about this war, is watching specifically the Druze unit, the 669 unit, which are predominantly our Arab IDF soldiers.
Yamasa SWAT unit.
Yep.
Wow, they are.
Them, right?
George, you have to meet them. I'm going to take you to see them. They're sending representatives here now with me to help me. We're going to raise for them. My goal is $500,000 for a new vest.
We have predominantly Arab units in the IDF, and they have been some of the fiercest advocates of Israel in the last 2 months, like you wouldn't believe. Yeah. They are the proudest Israelis you've ever seen, and they're just not talked about enough because everybody is so obsessed with the Jewish narrative.
What's the percentage in
Arabs?
Arabs living in Israel as opposed to Jews living in Israel.
They have about 20% people. This Meir Kahane, who was a good man, but he hated the Arabs and told all of them to leave. He says that the Arabs will have enough children soon to outvote the Jews in Israel. They have about 25% of the Israeli population.
But understand that it's doubled in the last 10 years. So
they're growing fast. I met a Filipino woman in Israel, short little Filipino woman, and I bumped into her, and she starts speaking Hebrew. Yeah. So perfect. I said, "Are you Jewish?" She says, "No." I said, "How the hell do you know Hebrew?" She said, "I live there."
All of them do.
It's my country.
Come on, the Ethiopians speak Hebrew. The Chinese people that are there speak Hebrew.
Can I ask you a question? Actually, just a personal question. When you go to Greece as a Greek, you go. Even if I wasn't born there, I feel like I'm going home. And when you leave, you're depressed for a week or two. Do Jews feel that when they leave Israel?
So a lot of people have that feeling, and they asked me there because I was walking around with my jacket with the American flag, and they said, "How come you're not wearing an Israeli flag?" And I told them straight out. I said, "I'm a Jew, nothing to question about it, and I'm one of your brothers and sisters. But I'm an American citizen. I love my country, and we have a problem in my country because in Israel there are 3 special words. Am Yisrael Chai. What does that mean, my delicious Nicole?
The people of Israel live.
We are one family. 3 words. We have the same 3 words here in America. We the people. The whole idea of that word was you think it's the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. They created those words to say we the people are like one family. But we in America can't get the gist of it.
Well, speaking of America, I'm sure our audience will be aware of tomorrow is the 82nd anniversary of Pearl Harbor. September 7th.
September 7th.
So we know how to get together. We know how to be a family, but lately we're not with the woke, letting Palestinian people like my nieces in UMass. And she says they're actually making protests. Today in Oakland, teachers are teaching. Did you hear about that?
Did you hear the congressional hearing with the presidents of the universities?
Well, it was UPenn, Harvard, MIT.
Yeah.
And Stefanik had to ask the question 2-3 times. She couldn't believe the answer. Right. She asked them, does calling for the genocide of Jews...
I love this. Look at this. Listen to this.
...violate our university's code of conduct or rules regarding harassment? And, let's be clear.
She wouldn't answer it.
That's the rules of conduct. That is, the rules of conduct cover cheating, cover...
Harassment,
what else?
All different guidelines.
Sexual assault.
It's not
guidelines of the university.
It's not laws. It's the rules of conduct that the university sets for the university to have I don't know, what would you call it?
To have a civil discourse.
Cohesion on campus.
But Nicole told me last week that if you threaten somebody's life, right, or when you do something like that, especially when you say, I want to kill you, all the Jews should die, or genocide, or you're standing somebody. They were standing in front of a store, I think in Los Angeles or some bakery or whatever, screaming and shut it down and Jews should die, whatever it is. Isn't that a crime? You told me that's a crime.
If you're inciting violence, yes.
Not violence, but you're also asking for the death of Jews when she's there in front of a store. Not arrested. New York City's letting them protest.
Well, they went into Columbus Circle. They crashed.
Rockefeller Center last week we were speaking
Rockefeller
about.
Center. Today they crashed, or yesterday they crashed Washington Square Park.
Nobody's getting arrested. And when they arrest him, they let him out as a joke.
So when a lot of these businesses in the city rely on a profitable holiday season. Tourism,
Foot
people
traffic,
come in. If I start seeing protests as a tourist, and I live in Wichita, Kansas, or Little Rock, Arkansas,
why am I coming to New York City?
Why would I come to New York?
And Mayor Adams has no control, and the police are all scared. You know, there was a lady, a Jewish lady that went around, took a video of this protest. And she went over to the cop. She says, why are you letting them? There's no permits. We were so proud of her. There's no permits. You're letting them scream right over here at 58th Street or something.
Well, speaking of Mayor Adams, though, I mean, listen, right now, there was a poll that came out. His approval rating is the lowest it's ever been, 28%.
He's still going to win. Who's going to run against him?
Well, we spoke about that last week on the show.
Cuomo.
A lot of people out there are testing the
wish
waters.
He is thinking that
Is
if,
he really?
if Mayor Adams gets thrown out or something, or he gets indicted.
One of your favorites, Brad Landers, testing the waters. There's State Senator Jessica Ramos.
Landers, took away his emergency powers.
Yes.
Took away the mayor's emergency powers to do crazy stuff with immigrants.
Is Nicole getting excited for Andrew Cuomo? Is there an Andrew Cuomo poster?
Oh, no, I forgot. Is
there an Andrew Cuomo poster?
You can't like Andrew Cuomo. He's a molester of women.
He's got $7 million in his campaign account, which certainly makes him, I'm sure, a viable candidate in a fractured Democratic primary that goes to ranked choice voting. So you could look at it like that. It's going to be.
Not saying I like him, but I'd be lying if I said he wasn't a viable candidate.
Definitely, regardless, Heshy, with the mayor, he's basically right now, he's a weak incumbent. He's damaged, and he really can't get the city in order, which goes back to your original question that right now, all these different things with the migrants, with the
But I do like Mayor Adams lately because he's been standing up for Israel. He says, we love Israel. We're not going to, and we're going to protect our Jews.
No offense, Heshy, but what good is that if the city burns to the ground?
I never said he's competent as the mayor right now, or he's doing a great job, but he's trying to focus. But he's just not getting the job done. I have a lot of people that want to do the job right, but if you can't get the job done right, you're fired.
Well, it's like we said this on the show a few months ago before George and Nicole came on. It's almost like, well, I guess if you could look at it and say the other option would have been Maya Wiley as mayor.
God help us if it was Maya Wiley.
It was only 10,000 votes of a difference
I
between
know,
the ranked
I know.
voting. So think of it this way: if Maya Wiley was the mayor, where would we
Heshy,
be?
why don't you run for mayor?
So
actually, Joe D has that.
People were
for
joking about that last time.
How come you're not running?
Who said it?
So Kalman Yeager and Simcha Eichenstein sat me down before I ran in the
48 district.
48 district. They said, listen, Heshy, you're not going to win. We're all going to go against you. If you run for mayor, you'll make a lot of money. It'll be funny. And you could, it'll be a cool thing. Use that funds. I said, are you crazy? See how you guys just want it as a joke, or you want to be a club. I want to make changes. I want to do it for real.
Joe says Heshy for mayor.
A lot of people, wherever I walk, mayor, president, governor.
I had people in our district.
Aren't you serious aren't you people out there serious about fixing this city? Aren't you serious about wanting to make a change?
But Heshy, on the Republican side, who do we have? Curtis Sliwa? Come on.
I know. We that's a problem, and we're going to have to get another Democratic mayor, and you have a year and a half, George, to find somebody competent to run as a Republican candidate. Why can't we find? I mean, come on, the Republican Party, and Tom brought this up. Who is this guy, Leon McCabe?
No, another loser, but this other guy, Vlad Deskovich, I believe, who killed his mother.
So Vlad Deskovich, you're a Republican Party, you're part of that leadership.
I'm not part of the leadership.
How come it's you guys?
Because he's there. He knew him well.
I didn't know him well. I did not know him at all.
But they put him up to run against who?
They were looking to run him for the state senate against him.
To be clear here, I am not part of the leadership. I didn't even get invited to the holiday party.
Go ahead.
Well, they wanted to run this guy apparently for the state senate, I guess, in Bay Ridge against an incumbent state senator. But this guy, it turns out, who was a volunteer, by the way, for Ari Kagan, who's now going to be Ina Vernikova, Democrat.
Hey, George is looking at us again. Stop mentioning Ina. I hate that woman. Go ahead, yeah.
So apparently,
remember the 11th commandment.
I don't even want to tell you what I found out, some information about some of her staff about going gambling in the illegal places, and somebody wanted to sell me one of her staff members' notes that he owes them $4,500
Didn't they give you the Lashon Hara lesson in Hebrew school?
No.
This is gossip.
It's not gossip. The guy, the bookie, gave me the note. He's a friend of mine. He says, Heshy, I want to do you a favor. I want to sell you the note. Would you buy the note,
bottom line,
Heshy?
though, that this guy, this barbarian, who should be spending the rest of his life in jail, apparently killed his mother and
stabbed her in the face.
I mean,
in the face or neck. I'm not sure. About
it was both, actually.
And that's who they chose. They didn't even look at
They wanted to run this guy,
but
and basically he was a volunteer, a prominent volunteer
when
of
you run
Ina
as a
Vernikoff and Ari
candidate in
Kagan.
New York City, I believe, and especially if you're taking New
to
York.
be clear, they wanted to run him for a Senate run against Andrew Gennardis.
Okay, but if you're taking money from the government and you want to run for any public office, I believe you should take a drug test. It should be, you're going in and you should have a mental, just like a gun.
You're the same guy that wanted to leave Santos where he was at.
I didn't want to leave Santos. He won already. If you're in office, you can't throw somebody
He
out.
won on a lie, on a series of lies.
All of them lie.
Not
None
like
of
that.
There's not. Tell me one politician that you know, and I'll tell you.
You.
Just give me a name. Never lie. I never. That's why
know-
I'm not.
you know,
That's why I
Heshy-
haven't won. That's why I haven't won. I'm gonna start lying, and you're gonna see me win.
Well,
I'm gonna
Just
start
like
lying.
it's funny. Just like people like Vicky Palladino, Sam Pirizzolo got in there. Yeah, we're going to be against the grain. They get in there, and all you see them do is pal around with Democrats
And look
other
at the
people.
history
and-
of
What's wrong
doing
with palling around
stuff.
with Democrats? You
Who-
guys
Vic-
palling around with a Democrat?
Vicky doesn't pal around with
She,
them.
all the Democratic council members in Queens, she works
She
with
does.
them closely.
She-
Well, she has to work with
She's
them.
Yeah, but you know what? But
Carmen
when they
Yeager's
go-
buddy.
Reaching across the aisle,
Yes,
my
but when they
friend.
go out there and say that they're going to be insurgents, they're going to go out and fight for the people, and they're going to be against the establishment, and the first thing they do and get in office is go and become the establishment, that's where voters see the problem. I know you're a party
You haven't
operative.
seen
No,
one
no,
filibuster.
Hold on a second. I don't love Ina, but you're wrong about Vicky.
No, Vicky is she's worked with the Democratic City Council members actually prefer
Why
her
is
over
working
Tony
with the
Avella.
other side so bad?
See, it's not bad, but when they tell their constituents, they tell the people that voted for
they
them,
tell them they're not going to be cooperative.
they tell
they're not
them
going to work with
they
the other
tell
side.
them that they're going to be basically for the people and not working with the party people and the other people that are in office that haven't
How
done
do you
for the
expect
areas.
to get anything done if you
Right.
don't work with the
So
people
I'll
that
tell you
are
how.
in?
One minute, Nicole. 1 minute. That's a good question. We don't allow them to pass any of their bills. We can stop at 6.
We don't have it. We don't have enough.
You don't need that. You could fill. Remember, the only way you can get a bill into the city council is you have to give it to the speaker. Only the speaker can bring a bill to the table.
And the city council, by the way, just on that point, because I do
Capital.
want to jump in on that, there are 51 council members. The council process is different than in the Senate and the state assembly because in those processes, and we'll certainly give us a call at 646-974-1580. But as a city council member, you get a lot more autonomy when it comes to your budget, when it comes to the type of bills, type of the committees you want to sit on. And when people like Vicky Palladino, Ina Vernikoff, who say they're going to do this and that, and they're going to go against the grain, and then when they get in there the first day in office, they want to stand. The Sam Pirizzolo does the same thing. Here was a guy that had the Trump sign on his house, and then all of a sudden I see him standing around with all the people for all those years he complained about. So to me, that's the problem with politicians. That's where
Vicky-
I,
Vicky
But
has
you don't
taken
even
a-
want
hold on
to.
a second,
No,
hold
no.
on.
Vicky could stop these bills, even though
She
the-
doesn't, and she voted for the
speaker,
last
she
city
can
budget. She
filibuster
voted
these
for
bills
it.
for weeks and months. But you know what Vicky and Carmen and all these other people want? They want to have legislation under their name.
And then they tell you,
do
vote
is
for
they'll
us
vote,
because we're
and
better
we'll
than the
allow
other
a Republican
person.
bill to go through. Ina's on 5 committees that she doesn't belong on. She's not competent.
I'm not defending Ina
But the
at
point
all.
is, she made a deal so she can pass legislation. She got up and made an anti-hate day. She had nothing better to do.
Heshy,
I would stop every single bill.
But Heshy, you also have to bring bacon home. You have to fix your community.
You can't let congestion pricing pass. You know why they allow congestion pricing?
And the governor of New
Tell her.
Jersey is suing
Suing.
that. That
Do you
tells
understand,
you that it's a bad
George?
thing.
I know you're a very rich Greek man. I want
don't know, I'm not rich.
You drive. You and Heidi drive. These guys go out a lot together. Forget that you spend
I
money.
learned from the Jewish people.
But the point is
There you go.
each
There you
time,
go.
each time you're going to go to the city between 30
And-
between 30 and $60 is your toll. Now you only go once or twice, okay? But when you start, and this girl's going to maybe.
I own an apartment in the city. I might go more than
just
that.
just let you know. So when you start now spending 306, let's say you go 4 times, so you're going to be spending a total of about $200 to $240 in tolls. Now you're talking to me about 4 times a month, 4 weeks out of a month, $800. you're looking at somewhere around $8,000 or $9,000 that you're going to spend tolls that are not tax deductible from your income, unless you put it on your bill that you.
So I actually have an alternate point. So you're in New Jersey. I'm just curious. How does this impact you at all? Congestion pricing. How would you feel about it? Do you go into Manhattan at all? I'm just curious.
I come into Brooklyn once a week now to see you people, right?
But so outside of that, obviously you're an attorney.
No, those of us that live in Jersey, I mean, we take full advantage of New Jersey Transit. If I had to be in the city, there used to be a time when I worked at Deloitte and I lived in Old Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I would drive my car to South Amboy, leave the car in South Amboy, hop the New Jersey Transit, took me right into Midtown.
That's what I do. I drive to Manhattan, I put it in a lot, and I get on a train to
But guarantee if congestion pricing doesn't fall on the wayside through a court case, guarantee it'll be expanded to downtown Brooklyn. Be expanded to parts of Queens.
I'm shocked that Brooklyn Bridge doesn't have a toll yet, which they can't do. But it's not only that. That's just an example of a bill. There's so many things that we could stop and filibuster and say, listen, we're not going to give in to you.
But your entire MO shouldn't be to filibuster.
It's not filibuster. Don't. But these guys are making deals because the Republican Party.
They are.
No, because these little Republicans.
Politics.
No, it's not politics. They want to pass legislation.
But Heshy,
don't put up a bill. We don't need them. But
that's where I'm with you, Heshy.
Stop the old bills.
But Heshy, but look at it on the other end. Okay, you get elected. You're a councilman, right? And you're going to go there and you're going to make a lot of noise and you're going to
give them hell.
You're going to give them hell, right? But every group that you give money to in this community is going to be screaming and yelling at you. Every cultural group that
doesn't change. You're making a mistake.
Because when you
what
say
the budget is the budget. The budget is a budget that has to be created and it's there. I'm not talking about what's existing and money. You're $120 billion you're not messing around with, even though we can cut it. I'm talking about that they create 30 to 40 pieces. Listen to me, Nicole.
No, I'm listening
30 to 40 pieces of new legislation every month. Stupid rules. We don't need them. Stop. Go to the old stuff that we have and fix it. Don't, I had an inspector.
But you're going to have every constituent come in here
and say what?
The potholes are not being fixed. The garbage is not being collected.
No, you can't do that. That would be illegal for them to do. And city council doesn't do that. It's the different divisions that we have to oversee.
Yeah, but if they don't get any money, it all goes.
It's not the money that you're stopping. It's the new stupid rules that you're creating. What was the new rule they're just creating now? That landlords, here's a new piece of legislation, I love this because I'm going to punish this little landlord like that. I hope they get you, George. You now have to pay for flooding tax. What was it? Some flooding thing that you have to fix the city flooding by your house and block. Are you crazy?
What does that mean?
It means $30,000 from you as a landlord. If there's an issue with the front of your property, you have to pay, which the city has to pay. Whenever the DEP sees some flooding in front of your house, first thing they do is blame the homeowner that the pipe that's connected, it's their fault. But we always get private people to tell us it's not true. It's the city's fault by the city's break. But if the break happens in our property under our sidewalk, we have to fix it.
Basically, this was Assembly member Emily Gallagher from Greenpoint.
Assembly.
She wants to introduce legislation that would, in New York City, impose stormwater fees onto landlords. That's what it is.
Okay, now I understand.
Phones are going crazy. Look.
And also, I want to give a plug to Nicole, actually, because she is a part of the Weitengruber Law Firm, which is out there in Wall Township, New Jersey, 1720 Highway 34, Suite 10. Give her a call at 732-6... Well, yes, but call her after the show. 732-695-3303. They deal with bankruptcy, wills, trust, all different types of financial laws. She does, and obviously George Weitengruber do a great job in terms of helping out in those areas of practice. And it's compassionate legal care that they give for all of their consumers and out there, the people that want to go out and seek their help.
I'm not changing anything different than the United States of America, Congress or Senate. You could look at this one guy that was able to throw out the speaker because he said the speaker didn't do the right thing, and he was saying that the speaker is making deals that he doesn't have to make.
Do you know why he was able to throw out the speaker actually?
Because of that stupid rule that they changed.
No, because they made it because the speaker made a deal.
Correct.
The speaker made a deal with all the people to try and get as many votes because
it took,
because he doesn't know how to use the word no. He doesn't know how to take the word no. It took 16 rounds of voting this guy. This is the kind of guy that tries to get you on a date and doesn't understand when he's turned down.
So he should have waited 20 rounds. He should have waited 20 rounds
just to get him in. And at the last round, he said, okay, I'll make you a deal. If one person doesn't like me anymore, you can vote me out. And that's exactly what happened. He made a deal. He got too cocky. He wanted his power. He was power thirsty, and he got what he got for it.
And you know what? Trump is going to maybe pick him as vice
And
president.
I hope Trump makes the same
You know
deal.
how to speak.
You heard that? I heard Trump might pick him as vice president. And also there's a young girl somewhere, like 37, 38 years old, that supported Trump. She's some kind of a congresswoman.
Are we talking about Elise Stefanik?
Is that it?
New York, upstate New York?
Right. 38 years old. He said he likes her. I would love her to be vice president. Wow. A nice, that's the first time I would actually say woman to be vice president.
Are you kidding me?
Smart.
That's the first time?
What? Oh, Kamala Harris? What? I mean, really, Kamala Harris?
You've had 30 years on me on this planet, and that's the first time you decided
You
for
haven't
a vice
chosen
president.
one normal woman. Nikki Haley, I would take as vice president, not as president. But Kamala Harris, you chose? Are you not ashamed of yourself?
Are you a fan of Kamala
And what was
Harris?
that Republican
Actually
that we
not.
chose from Alaska? What was that governor's name?
Oh, that
Sarah
idiot, Sarah
Palin.
Palin.
Bubblehead completely. And I'm a Republican. I mean, come on. These are the choices you pick because you want
Although apparently,
I didn't pick him.
I don't eat, there's so many different kinds of tuna. You don't have to pick the best kind of tuna.
You eat tuna and mint chutney? I hear it's pretty decent.
speaking of you, I want to give a big shout out to Johnny C, the pizza guy. He's tuned in, and Johnny's saying
Is he?
hello.
Is he
Yep,
back?
Johnny's here.
What's
Yep,
up?
And I think I follow Johnny on Instagram now because Johnny's all over the place. Johnny's a great guy, and a number of different people want to say a few things, so I want to give them the opportunity. Superfly says, Heshy, can you send me a message about students traveling to and from yeshivas on electric scooters? They are not the only violators, of course, but does your community address this and other safety concerns?
No,
she
we
was
have to
almost hit
teach
by
her.
one, actually,
Right.
so that's why she's upset.
But it's not only the yeshiva students. I'm seeing everybody on those scooters just driving in. They're not being taught. I think that when you have one of those electric scooters, you're right.
There's a bill in the city council to regulate them.
Not regulate them.
Yeah.
Make the young kids take a license and a test. Give them a test. Now, you're right. Charge only $10 or $20 to give them this license, and we teach them that if you're bad, you will lose your license, and you can never drive a scooter again. And we'll take away your scooter if we see you driving it illegally.
I thought they did that.
No, they didn't. So that I agree. I don't agree to stop making laws to regulate them. Let's teach them how to use it correctly, just like a car.
They want them to have license plates now. So
Not only license plates, but we want these kids to go to a course, spend the money.
They definitely need license plates because they need those batteries checked out.
Okay, so these are little things. That regulation I agree to. Something like that for safety. You want to come up with an idea. Just don't tell me, stop the scooters or yeshiva students or everybody's acting crazy. You want to take a call? Fine, take a call. I have so much more to say because I want to tell her. Santos, they threw him out. They were wrong. He was elected.
They were wrong for throwing him out?
He lied. He didn't kill. He didn't rob. You didn't put.
That's your standard?
No, hold on. You're right. 100%, Nicole. Here's my one question to you. And I forgot to mention this thing. There's a Constitution. Did you know that in America? Just want to make sure you know that.
I heard of it.
Yeah. Ask Trump if he knows
Wait. Innocent till proven guilty. Oh, no. That doesn't exist anymore. Innocent till proven guilty doesn't
They
work.
investigated him. They did.
Still take him to trial. Go ahead, pick up the call.
Caller, you're on the line here with Heshy, George, Nicole, and yours truly.
We can be
Tom.
guilty before innocent.
Caller, you're on the air. Hi, how are you? Caller, tell us who you are and where you're from and what's on your mind here with the Just Enough Heshy Show, the #1 news talk show.
Tom, good evening. How are you?
Anthony Finkel, you're alive, man.
How are you? Yeah, we thought you were drunk somewhere on the corner.
Anthony Finkel, what is going on? We didn't know you were alive anymore. So what's on your mind here, sir?
Hey, I've been listening to the show. I would listen every week, but tonight I heard something that I thought I could comment on.
Absolutely.
About how the Republicans have no bench here in New York City, but also like nationally. And what I was thinking was, last week I watched the debate between Gavin Newsom and Ron DeSantis. Mm-hmm. And what I would say is, even though DeSantis has, Florida's doing better in a lot of different areas, he just was Newsom was a better representative for the Democrats as well. He's a slippery politician, but he also was a good salesman for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and the terrible job that they've been doing. And when you look at the Republicans, how we've gotten rid of McCarthy, how we've gotten rid of Santos, we hurt ourselves. You never see the Democrats do that. You got this guy, this other senator with gold bars in his jacket, and the Democrats still unite behind him. We have the Hunter Biden laptop, and they still unite behind Joe Biden. We hurt ourselves, and that's why nobody takes the Republican Party serious.
Right. Look at Talib. Talib should have been thrown out immediately the second she started using a Palestinian flag and stating that lies. She lied. She actually lied. Nicole, what about you? One of your Democrats, Talib, lied, stating that we are murdering their people and everything we've done, these Jews are lies. Why isn't she thrown out for lying in the house?
George, but no, Talib is not one of my people at all. But I also don't necessarily agree that Democrats get away with anything.
What about your senator with the gold bars?
Yeah, Menendez. Yeah. Well, yeah. First of all, the
Which
Democrats,
is your representative.
He is, yeah, unfortunately.
I mean, we have a guy here. We have a guy, Ezra Friedlander, who's a lobbyist.
The Democrats do not. There is a slew of Democrats that have all said he's got to go. Everyone is
but
pretty
they're
much
not letting him go because they need his vote.
Go.
They need him. That's why they're not letting him go. They need his vote. They need him there.
Do they though? I'm pretty sure they don't. They're doing just fine because the Republicans are self-imploding.
Well,
they don't really necessarily need him.
The second you give up Menendez, then the vote gets tied in the Senate. Just remember that.
Yeah, but there'd be an election and probably a Democrat.
Maybe.
Exactly.
I don't think so,
Yeah,
Jersey.
New Jersey
I don't
is
think
all
so.
blue all day.
I don't think so. Now Republican, we just got in Lakewood a Republican
But
congressman.
that's Lakewood.
It's not Lakewood, right? And they're going to put
Trump
up.
could win in Lakewood, straight up.
Do we have a caller on the air? Or has she somebody else wanting to call
She's
you?
very popular.
No.
Yeah.
I know, but
there's him. There's Al Franken who resigned over a freaking picture of him pretending to touch a boob.
But I have one alternate
Democrats
point.
don't get away with
I have
anything.
one alternate point though on Santos that is I don't think anybody's mentioned here, and why I'm actually upset as to why he was expelled. Because what happens now is in the process of the New York law, the election, we don't get a primary. So there's no Republican primary. There's no Democratic primary. The party bosses of the Democrat, Republican, Conservative, and Working Families parties, when this special election takes place on February the 13th, it's an insider people of many. We'll take the call in a second, but I just want to get this off my chest because it's only going to be a small handful of people who are going to select these candidates, and there's going to be no primary. In my opinion, the voters lose with that, and that's a quirk that the machines, and that's why in New York and other places, the machines control the process, and that's why, Heshy, I'm with you all day, every day, in the fact that a lot of these people get into office, Republican, Democrat, and say they're going to go against the grain, and then they turn their backs on what they believe in. Caller, you're on the air with George, Heshy, and Nicole.
If I do get elected, when I do get elected, you will see.
Well, you are going to get elected, but let's get this caller on the line here. So, caller, you're on the line here on the Just Enough Heshy Show with George, Nicole, Heshy, and Tom.
Hello?
Yes. You're on the air.
Hi, can you hear me? I was calling about the George Santos thing. I mean,
Absolutely.
He was federally indicted. He was found guilty by the House Ethics Panel.
That doesn't count. Hold on.
How does it not count?
House Ethics Panel is not a jury trial that he was guilty. They said he did some bad things and he should be expelled, but that's not acceptable. You have to be. Sure, it does have to be.
No, it doesn't have to be.
Even an impeachment is a real trial.
By the way, I'd like to introduce that caller.
Thank you.
No, let him finish. You're done, caller.
His name's German. German for the win.
By the way,
thank you,
Heshy,
German.
I think it's fascinating that you're harder on Ina than Santos.
My man.
Hold on. Santos, hold on. You can clap him, Miss Pastrami lady. Okay, from a package. I want you to just know something, okay?
Yeah, well, it's better than your jurisprudence from a package. It's pretty awful.
I want you to know something. George Santos lied. He insulted.
He did more than
But he
lie.
hasn't
He was indicted.
He was not indicted. He was not. Everybody gets indicted. I was indicted 5 times. Okay, got found guilty once on a conspiracy charge they made up. It doesn't work like that. Guilty means guilty, and I'm going to explain to you what that is in a minute. But Ina walked around with a gun.
But she
walked around with a gun.
But she wasn't criminally charged, and she wasn't brought to.
She was charged, and they dropped the charges.
Oh,
Right.
Not guilty under your logic that passes.
Right, and I hope. Right.
It happens with.
sorry.
It happens
You're
with.
right. You beat us. You beat us in a game, which if I was
Heshy,
or a black person like
it's a game
Tom
of your
said,
rules.
But Heshy,
we
you
would
know
be.
what?
I would go to jail.
At the end,
Right? It's not your rules. It's your rules because I had to
think-
go and do community service and sit a night in jail when she got a desk appearance ticket for walking around with a gun, and I got to be locked up for 2 days because they lost my fingerprints. So the mayor should punish me because I caused the riot that the police invited me to.
Heshy, I think we might have another call on the line, but one thing I do want to say about Ina, and Ina's days are only going to be as a city council member. So at the end of the day, she can enjoy her post in city council, but she's going nowhere but city council. Do we have a caller on the line here with George, Nicole, Heshy, and Tom? I think we have. Oh, no, Nicole. Okay. Thank you for waving us off here. But and thank you to German, by the way, who called in. I wanted to give him a big
German,
thank you.
I know you're saying, again, I want to tell you something that Nicole would understand more than you two, because we have a lot of, and as a landlord, you get violations and tickets, and you know that. And George hires.
How do you know Nicole's not a landlord?
But you could be. But Nicole is a lawyer, and she knows that, and she does a lot of
bankruptcy.
She knows administrative law. And administrative law in New York City, here's the deal: you are guilty till you're found innocent. That is the rule. Fact. You go to court. Everywhere. I go to ECB court. I've done over 10,000 cases. And when the judge says, I believe the position of the inspector and what's in the prima facie of the violation, and whatever your argument is, you need to bring me proof. But the inspector didn't give you pictures. The inspector didn't give you proof. He just wrote something down. He even claims he served. One time we didn't serve. We found an inspector on camera who didn't serve. He swore he served. We showed the picture to the judge. Judge says, no, I want to see it on a video. Now, the guy was innocent, guilty. We were just guilty without even fighting with it. Garbage tickets. I saw papers flying around. Excuse me, did you even determine the situation? You are guilty.
Is there an appellate process?
So you can't appeal. Here's the appeal process. Listen to this one. You could appeal any decision the city makes against you, but you must pay the fine first. Then you can appeal, and you have 30 days to do it. And if you don't come up with the money or pay the fine within 30 days, which some of us don't have to, by the way, we don't have the money, because it's not $100 or $50 garbage fine. Some of these fines are $2,000, $3,000, $10,000, $20,000. Where are you going to get that money from? So you have to wait for it. And that's the problem with the appeal. Now, here's another rule. That used to be that if you couldn't make the court case, you know what happens? It goes into default. Mm-hmm. So usually a default, you can open up the case with a motion. Always, even for years later on, and come back with evidence and lose or not lose. Yeah, or if you never pay it, they can go and get a judgment against you, and then you lost the default. They changed the rule. You have 90 days to open up a default, and why you missed it. One time only. If it defaults a second time, you're automatically dead. Here's the deal. You can never, you're allowed one adjournment, but the city and the government can adjourn 3 or 4 or 5 times. Unacceptable. They sometimes, the first thing they do is, when you have enough evidence, we're calling the inspector. So we tell the judge, why do you need the inspector? Here's the evidence. We want to hear from what the inspector says, but you're going by the prima facie of the case. Inspector shows up, even you have evidence, whatever the inspector says, that is the way it goes. Now the inspector doesn't show up, automatically the case has to be dismissed. That is the rule. The government is allowed to ask for another postponement. And we argue with the judge. Well, the inspector was busy. He was on another case. He's busy in the field. So then don't make us postpone it the second time. I have somebody I'm evicting from an apartment. Okay. Hasn't paid rent in a year. Oh, wow. 0. And
is that legal?
No.
No, after
the courts are postponing it.
No. That's a serious question.
He let the case go into default. He comes to court 2 days later. I was sick. I couldn't make it. I'm sorry. They reopened the case for him after it was in default. Fine. Another 3 months he got. Again, he comes back. I got some organization to help me raise the money. Where's the paperwork? He gets a letter from them that we're looking into it. Now, he gets denied for this extra government stuff. He says, well, Judge, I'm appealing the decision. Judge gives him another 45 days. We go to court. Okay, he doesn't have the paperwork. Now we go to trial. It's a year later. Now he shows up at trial with this organization. Yes, we are now considering to prove it. The landlord hasn't gotten one piece of document that they might even give us money. We haven't even filled out a form. So even if we get approved, how do we get the money? And if we get approved, it's 6 more months and we don't know how much we're getting. This is the way administrative law runs in this city. And I'm just telling you, we are guilty before innocent. It's not only here, it's everything. So when you tell me something that you can throw a man out of Congress because he lied or said something, half of your inspectors are lying. Half of your police officers. And I'm sure you got a driving ticket many times, Nicole. Nicole, have you gotten a driving ticket?
I will neither admit nor deny.
Well, we've all, sitting in this room, we've all gotten this ticket. And
except Nicole.
I don't drive.
And you know that half the time the police are lying or telling you a story about it. Or you go to court to fight it. Yeah. Here's the deal. If you go to fight a traffic ticket, 99.5% of the time you're going to lose.
Not in Jersey.
He believes, they always believe the cop. There's nothing you can do about it. The only way to win such a ticket is if you hire a lawyer.
The
ticket will never get dismissed.
Violation,
yeah, you always fight it.
I always fight it with a lawyer.
With a lawyer, because the same way
line.
people go for building department violations, I tell them, if you go yourself, you lost. You hire us, we know the codes and the tricks to get out of it. But that is wrong. Another 200, another 500 out of my pocket for sending somebody to do something which is wrong. And what bothers me the most is that, I want to give you an example. There's a space over here on 65th Street and Avenue P. Okay?
Oh, yes, right by Dale Hill Road, where there's
So the cop sits.
By the funeral home.
The cops, they don't hide. Openly. They sit openly, so you should see them. It's cool. And they sit because when you get to this end of this road, you can only make a right
it's
or a
like
left.
a weird intersection.
There's nothing
It's
you
like
can do.
Day Hill
So there's
Road,
an arrow
NDP,
that says, make a right, and an itty bitty sign you can't see, make a right. When you make the right, you're not allowed to make a left, even though it's a half a block. You have to cross over, put your blinker on, then make the
And
left.
speaking of
If
crossover,
in any way that you make, now the cop is sitting there. He sees that there's a double parked truck there. So you have to go around it. Sometimes you can't go all the way
And
around.
speaking of
So you
intersections,
sit-
I want to thank everybody on 620 WSNR, 1640 WJPR, and 93.5 FM WVIP. Happy Hanukkah to those listeners out
right?
there. We'll see you.
I mean,
Happy Hanukkah.
and I want you to know, when you make that right turn, the cop is watching you, and he sees you sitting in the left lane, which is only 2 left lanes. He pulls you over. When you make the right turn from the right lane, and you don't cross over because you don't have time because you want to make that light, he gives you a ticket. And he sits there watching. I said to the cop, "Didn't you see the double parked truck?" He says, "Yeah, you should have stopped, waited, pulled in slowly." I said, "But then I'm holding back traffic. Isn't that stupid?" They don't care. Now he sits there and keeps you there for an hour, writes you a ticket, which
He's
is
got a
costing.
quota to fill. I mean,
But again, guilty. And when you get to
got a
court,
quota.
the judge says, "Well, the cop is right." I said, "But the cop is wrong. He has no common sense. Sitting there waiting for us. And if he sees us there, why doesn't he just get out of his car and say, 'Stop'? We're not speeding. We're not cutting the light. We're stopping. We're waiting at the light for 3 minutes to make." And he sees the blinker on. If he sees the right blinker in the left lane, get out of the car and say, "Listen, guy, you're in the wrong lane." Instead, he waits for us to commit the crime. This is called guilty before innocence. And that is not the what. If you want, I could pull out of my jacket the Constitution that we're innocent before guilty.
And it's also
And I have the
interesting
right
that
to
you spoke about that location, because a few blocks going toward Stillwell Avenue, it's been a known hotbed for, unfortunately, pedestrian deaths. So maybe those officers should be worried more about focusing on that, because there were 2 deaths on the Avenue P intersection this year alone. And I know that because people in our district have told me personally about that, and I've seen it.
And they've done nothing about it?
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope.
And that's what
And the
cops
current
do.
council
Instead of-
member who Heshy ran against, they contacted me about it. did
Kalman
nothing.
Yeager, no good.
Yeah, but he'll be out of office anyway, and you'll fix it in 2 years.
There's so much they could do. And when the city fixes the streets, they don't get permits. They don't even give us warning. All they do is put up a sign, you can't park here Monday morning, close it down. They don't pick a proper day. Like sometimes they closed down a street recently that I had to fight with the DOT.
Well, don't worry. The Republican Party weren't they cultivating this guy who just murdered his mother? They're gonna fix these problems.
But you know what? Right, but you know what? When you close a street in a neighborhood on a Friday before Shabbos,
that's bad.
and you tell everybody to move their
neighborhood?
cars,
Yeah, no.
and from 9 to 5 when Shabbos is 4 o'clock, you want a whole block to move. They don't take care of it. But you have to worry about the Muslim holidays, the Christian holidays. Pay attention to what's going on in the city. They do whatever they want. They shut down whatever they want. And if you don't like it, we'll tow your car, we'll boot your car, we'll tax you, and just do whatever we want. And these are the things that have to be filibustered. This new legislation, this stupidity that's
And on top of
going
that,
on.
the city council
I don't care if you're Republican. I'm going to stop
But you know what, real quick, before we go off, the city council only meets once a month. These people only meet once a month. And the money that they make, and for the lack of anything they do for their constituents, not even on legislation, just on the fact that everyday issues, that's really where I think, to me, this is a non-Republican, non-Democrat thing. I come at it from that kind of world, and I think that that's why Heshy's spot on about
It's a
those
job.
things.
They want to. I believe, and I'm going to tell you what I believe. No councilman should get a salary. You
Amen.
wanna
What?
Amen to that.
What's the
Amen.
problem? What's the problem with that? You want to serve. Pay attention to what I'm saying.
There are council members
wanna
like, Joe
serve-
Borelli, David Carr, who have spent their entire life on government payrolls. Those guys
You
are
want to
what's wrong
serve
with
your
politics.
country? Serve. You
I
know
don't
how many-
know. I don't know.
You know how many
I don't
people
know.
do
Here's
volunteer?
the problem with
You know how many
that.
people do volunteer
Okay, no, I
work?
get it.
You wanna
Don't
take that
volunteer.
first?
You're
Oh,
probably
so
gonna think the
nobody
same
will
thing I'm
serve?
thinking.
I promise you that
Heshy,
people
it's
will
not a matter of
serve.
nobody will serve. You know what the problem with that is? that means that only the privileged people can serve, and that's BS.
What are you talking about?
There are some people that can't afford to work for free, Heshy.
Sure there are.
There
are many women, housewives, men that are, who want to do, you know how many people do volunteer work that don't make?
Housewives?
Yeah.
What?
Who are very competent.
What decade do you
They're
live
very competent. When their children go to school, they can go on this once-a-month job
So
to
these
city council
housewives...
and have an office and work
So
out
you're
of
talking
there.
about a subset of unemployed women who are
Unemployed,
housewives.
college-educated,
Well, this,
smart
ladies
women
and gentlemen, is
who
why
are
we're
taking
about
off.
to go off
by
the air.
itself.
So if
That's
you
a
are
privilege
here,
by
we're going to
itself.
It's not a
continue
privileged
this
job.
conversation
It's not a privileged
next
job.
week.
I
Check
believe
us
you
out
wanna serve-
anytime at heshytishler.com. Producer, get ready to play that music because we're about to go off the air. It's 10 o'clock. And again, we'll see you next week on 620 WSNR, 1640 WJPR,
This is
93.5
And thank you, everybody, for sending me
WVIP. Beauty versus the Beast. Stay tuned for more next week on
Because I don't
heshytishler.com.
think George is that beautiful.
Well, until then, that's why join us and
But I
join
want
the
you to know,
conversation.
I got hundreds of well wishes and stay safe when I was in Israel.
Yes.
So I want to thank all of you for that.
And all many
George
of our
kept calling me,
constituents.
Heshy, be safe, be careful. I said, George, I'm coming back. Prepare that committee. No, I don't want to put in $20 for that committee sign, Heshy. I'm not wasting the money.
And
Please
I
come
want to
back.
thank Superfly, Black Beauty. I want to thank Otenenal, Joe D. I want to thank Johnny C, Gershon. I want to thank everybody in the chat. Zena, of course, as well out there in Sheepshead Bay. And producer, play that music for us. We will see. And also Johnny C, one more time. The parking ticket division at NYC is a $1 billion industry for the city of NY.
Yeah.
I worked in
And
the
the
industry.
building department is a $2
representing
billion.
commercial carriers for several years. Josh Bailey says this is why we need a second hour. By the way, Beauty versus the Beast. Hour 2. Stay tuned. Maybe more details coming up at Just Enough Heshy on all social media channels. Also, Nicole is at Viton Gruber Law. Also, George is out there. Dream, WHITG on Instagram. Check him out. Also, all the things he does in the community. Producer, play that music for us.